Yo, what's up, everybody? So good to have you here. We'll get the live stream going in just a second. I've got some new toys this year, some new bells and whistles for Sharks Night Shift. The phone number is on your screen, 510-343-3640. I'm not going to be taking live calls this year, but I've decided that the voicemail line will be open. And so later on in the episode, I'll sift through the voicemails. If you're feeling ambitious, call right now, 510-343-3640. Leave a message, I'll play it back, I'll respond to it later on in the live stream. On that note, what do you say? We get the thing started. Actually, let me look at some more shark footage real quick. That is so cool. That's also a cool shot. All right, here we go. Let's do Night Shift.
Broadcasting live and worldwide. Here's Brody Brazil.
Oh, wait a second. There we go. Welcome to Sharks Night Shift, first episode of the season. Feels like just yesterday I was recapping games from last season. And then I left a little bit early to start the baseball season. Since then, I did the majority of 162 games, and now hockey starting on a Friday morning into afternoon here in California. I feel guilty calling it Sharks Night Shift today and tomorrow because it's not the whole theme of the show. But the program is back. I'm happy to do this again. I'm happy to break down what we just witnessed from Prague. Sharks fall 4-1. They allow goals in all three periods. A little bit of a concern that themes we saw today were things that hurt the Sharks last season. Like simply not scoring enough goals. And I think there were other things that were positives, the way James Reimer played, the way the penalty kill looked. Also, though, on a negative side, allowing early goals. I've got some notes here. I'll try and make sense of all of this as we go. But did the Sharks today look too much like the Sharks of literally yesteryear? Not scoring enough, doing some other things to keep them in the game, but ultimately not winning the hockey contest. I want to know what you think. Also, I'll be keeping an eye on the live chat. We'll eventually get to some responses there in just a second. Early goals for me were something that stood out. I mean, when the Preds scored 61 seconds into the game, Kiefer Sherwood had that rebound. He put it back. 1-0 Preds early. So you're already fighting an uphill battle. Sharks never had a lead in this game because of that. And then second stanza, same thing. 66 seconds in, Eli Tolvanen through a lot of traffic, fired off the wrister, quick snapshot, beats James Reimer. And at that point, Hertl had already responded, but 2-1. And after that goal, the Preds never looked back. They got 2 in the second period. The empty netter is what it is in the third period. But it also, it describes a game where Nashville got better as the game went along. And I think the Sharks, like both teams, kind of found their legs in the first 20. The Sharks could never just put anything together. They ended up kind of chasing the game in the final period. The Sharks took 3 minor penalties in a row in the third period. 254, Cunnin for interference, Gadjevich, goalie interference, which, by the way, that was such a bad call. When you get pushed into UC Saros like he did, and you're the one to go in the box, I'm not even surprised by the NHL anymore when that happens. Just more frustrated, like, here we go again. It's so predictable, the penalty that's going to be called and shouldn't be called. And then Matt Nieto had a high stick infraction at 9:27, and then with about 30 seconds left in the period, the third, Duchesne buried the empty netter. So, trends of the game, Sharks with a respectable early start. Again, after one period, Sharks had outshot Nashville 13-11. They're right in this. After the game, David Quinn said that his team kind of lost their, I think, edge. Is that what he used? Or they got a little bit, not intimidated, but They just got on the wrong side of the game after about 25 minutes in. And I think it's a perfect evaluation. Kind of lost the handle of it and never really could recapture it. But those early goals by the Sharks, that was also a trend of last season. Early period goals. Now, they count the same. It's still only one goal. Does it matter if they scored a minute in or 7 minutes in or 12 minutes in? I suppose it doesn't. But when it sets a tone like that for the rest of the period, either beginning of the game or you just came out of the room and all of a sudden, you're having to chase the scoreboard, it mentally counts as more than one goal. I thought that was something worth notating from today's game. I think on a positive side, the Sharks' penalty kill got obviously tested today. You don't want that to always be the case, but it was a perfect 4 for 4. And that was a great theme of last season. San Jose had the second best penalty kill in the league, clicking at 85%. But you don't want to have to hold that bar all the way that high again this season. You'd rather have your special teams balance out. You'd rather have your power play be able to contribute some goals. Sharks were 0 for 4 on the man advantage again today. So the penalty kill, I do have to say, whatever's working, that's great. I'd rather see it not tested so much. I'd rather see the power play side of things work out a little bit more often. But as long as the penalty kill is what it is, and as long as James Reimer does what he's been doing, and Kaapo Kähkönen doing the same, the Sharks will be competitive in games. If they play like they did tonight, they'll be there. But if they don't score, and if they don't get it from a multitude of places, that might pose them some problems. And on that note of scoring goals, let's get right into Tomas Hertl's goal. How special was that? Honestly, I mean, of all the Sharks things we've watched over the years, and when he buried it, you're like, first period, first game, all the attention on him and the emotion that he displayed. Brownie said it best. It looked like he had just scored a playoff goal, which we've seen plenty of over the years, right? His emotion, his reaction, it meant that much to know that all of his family there, I'm imagining dozens, if not hundreds, of Hertls and Hertl relatives in attendance. But to be kind of the center of attention, and have that instant reward. By the way, I was just thinking about this too. Radim Šimek also from the Czech, so should point that out. But to have that as kind of a cool reward, you can't write that up any better. That was very storybook. As our network now has the motto of authentic moments live here. I mean, that was a very authentic moment. But it also spells out the problem. Hertl scored. Timo Meier hit a post. Logan kind of fanned on a one-timer, a puck that was bouncing around. They said, by the way, that the ice conditions today/tonight were not great. And that is probably to be expected in some of these foreign situations. And I can't speak to standards and humidity and all that stuff, but it's not always going to be perfect when you go 5,800 miles away from home. But anyway, just going back to the diversity of scoring for the Sharks, if they only get it from 3 places again this season, that's going to be an issue. And they're trying to get away from that, clearly. I mean, you need more than just your forward scoring. You need your defenseman chipping in once in a while. But yeah, good that it was Hertl. Good that it's a storybook thing. You just like to see more and from more people. James Reimer was pretty good tonight. It's weird. I keep saying tonight, and I'm going to drive home at 3 p.m. James Reimer was solid. James Reimer made multiple grade A stops that kept this game from honestly finishing at a 6-1 final score. Like, I would not have been surprised. Some of the looks that Nashville got, whether they were on a breakaway or in tight, I had several that I marked down, especially one on Johansson. I think that was in the second period. But this is it's a testament to James Reimer. It's the reason that he got the first game of the season, And Kakinen had, 10 games with San Jose last year? We'll figure out what he is to become. We'll figure that out. And I hope there's a lot of upside. Look, the Sharks had the opportunity to keep him or to keep Adin Hill, and they went with Kakinen. They've seen something in Capo. So you'd have to imagine he'll get his opportunity tomorrow. But as for James Reimer, I said at the beginning here, some stories of last season repeated. Yeah, that's true. Trouble scoring, only getting it from select places. The penalty kill was good. Reimer's a part of that. But, even at even strength, that's pretty tricky. Even at even strength, James Reimer's just going to continue to keep him in games. But I would say you look at how Nashville scored tonight. The Sherwood goal was a rebound on a second chance and a putback. Ideally, and I know Ferraro was right there out front, ideally Sherwood doesn't get that second chance. The Tolvanen goal, a wrister through traffic. Some of those are going to happen, right? That's calculated shot, worked out. Okay. The Niederreiter goal was a 2-on-1. Radim Šimek was kind of not able to maybe decide between Fabro and Niederreiter how he was going to cover that. But again, 2-on-1 developing from center ice. Reimer made some other stops that were just as good. Couldn't stop that one. And then he wasn't even in there for the third and final goal, the empty netter by Duchesne. So a second chance and a 2-on-1 to go along with, a talent-based wrister through traffic. I'm looking at the goals that Nashville scored, the ones that Reimer allowed. Two of the three he might have been able to get some help on, or situations that could have been prevented before the shot even took place. But I look at James Reimer as being one of the Sharks' best players in this game, which is, again, good. You don't want to make that be a bad thing. You don't want to play that as a bad angle. That's a good angle. And I hope Kakinen can, continue the conversation, put the pressure on Reimer in his opportunity. But here's the deal. You want to go and reward Reimer for those types of efforts. And I think this is the frustration of not being able to score tonight and in the last couple of years. For how many seasons in a row the Sharks could always get in these track meets and always be fine and always have no problem scoring goals. Now we find them in some of these lean years, and it's frustrating because even on the nights where they play pretty good defensively, they can still lose a game 2-1, 3-1. That two or fewer thing is starting to bite them. And UC Saros is great, right? But they're probably not going to see Saros in nets tomorrow. So hopefully they can take advantage of that. Speaking of tomorrow, William Eklund and Thomas Bordeleau, they're on this trip. They didn't play in that preseason game against the Ice Baron in Berlin, and they did not play game 1 of the season tonight. Now, as I mentioned before, rosters are expanded. 27 can travel here. So I'm wondering if they were brought for the opportunity as a reward, had a good training camp, you can be around this stuff, or are they being brought out there to play in a game? Because at this point, they're only going to play tomorrow, or that's it. And there's a lot of high hopes for Eklund and Bordeleau. I think to, though, put pressure on them to be the goal scorers, like, all of a sudden we found our scoring way with these two. That's not it. They're going to be great players, right? At some point in the near future. But the timing is everything with them right now. How to manage the opportunity. When do you put them in? When do you know how to tail them back if you're going to do that? What are you going to do next? What if they struggle? Do they go to the Barracuda? Do you scratch them for a few games? What do you do, and how do you do this? I think we all understand kind of where the path is going to end up with these two players. And Ryan Merkley eventually too, who right now has started his season with the Barracuda. It's a matter of how do you get them to that spot in the best and most productive journey and path. So I'm interested to see if they play tomorrow, who they play with, like on what line, how much ice time they get. All that's going to be pretty interesting to me. I will get into some questions here in just a second. So if you're in the live chat, let me just start off by saying, where's everybody watching from today? It's today in California, but maybe you're in Europe. So today or tonight, wherever you are around the world, that's the beautiful thing about these live streams. Let me know where you're at. I should also close out by saying, yeah, this was the first game with David Quinn as the head coach. It was also the first game without Brent Burns on the team. New jerseys, I thought they looked pretty good. Whenever I say New Jersey, I think of the actual state of New Jersey, not new. The Sharks' new jerseys. No, that's New Jersey still. The new Sharks jerseys. There we go. So we talked about Burns not being there. We could do more on that as we really get a handle of who these Sharks are minus Burnsy. Early goals allowed. Eklund and Bordelot, the PK, how Nashville scored. We talked about that. Hertl's goal. Needing some more scoring capacity, and James Reimer stopping a bunch of grade A chances. So all that being established, let me now jump in the comments here. Where are we here? Let's begin with Tim. Oh, Tim, look at your avatar, by the way. Really couldn't pony up the cash for the Commodore song for the stream? Which one? Which Commodore song would you like to hear? If you fund it and finance it, I'll have it on here. Still way too early, and I'm sure there were some confounding variables to the game tonight affecting both teams, but would like to see the Sharks come back strong tomorrow. Matt, that is a great point. Actually, that's several great points right there. I should have started this live stream the same way I started our post-game show on TV. Neither team qualified for the playoffs tonight with their victory in Prague, right? Nothing has been determined. And tonight's game was such a bunch of different variables and things that are not normal, not to mention the first game of every season kind of feels a little bit wonky. But it's good to get that out of your system and to start your season even earlier. I agree. I think, Matt, the biggest thing about tonight was that the Preds took it over in that second period, and the Sharks could never really catch up. Because, again, I don't feel guilty or inaccurate to say that through 20 minutes, I mean, it was fairly even played. I don't think there was a better team. I don't think there, at the same respect, there was not a worse team. It was just an even game through 20. That middle 20, getting outshot 15-9, getting outscored 2-0, that was kind of the takeover. Charles, how did the Sharks do in Prague? Come on, you know that. They lost 4-1. NHL is back. First sports equinox, all four major pro sports on the same day, is October 20th. Is that true? So am I working on October 20th here? Do we have a game that night? That's my life. Oh, yeah, yes we do. Sharks will be at Madison Square Garden, JZ34. So happy to participate on all four major pro sports on one day. So you got the football regular season, the NBA kicking off, baseball playoffs, and the beginning of the NHL season. At least Tomas Hertl got to score on home soil. Felt weird here in Manchester. Oh, that's right, you're in England. Not having to be up at 3 a.m. to watch the Sharks. Well, in that case, George, we appreciate your dedication for being here when you are, because I know it's late. I know it's overnight. I know it's actually like morning time when you tune into most of these live streams. Sharks don't have a Tier 1 game-breaking player. The good teams who don't have that, example the Blues, have elite scoring depth. Sharks currently do not appear to have that yet either. I think that's my biggest observation from last season and moving forward to watch out for. I'm not saying we're there yet. We don't know this Sharks group yet. But an area of concern is how deep can they be scoring? Going back to last year, between Timo and Logan and Tomas, that was like 70-something% of all the goals they scored. Is that right? 60 or 70%, a high volume, a ridiculous amount. You need it from more places, different lines. You need it from your defensemen. I would agree that scoring depth is one thing they lack. I don't know about that Tier 1 game-breaking player. I think that first off, not every team even has one of those. Like, that's more of a unicorn than having scoring depth, right? If you're talking Tier 1, I know the Connor McDavid level of player you're talking about there. How many teams have that? 5, 7? not even close to half the league. But you can't rely on that. Those are hard to come by. They're hard to keep. You'd hope to develop one, but that's, you know what the chances are there. You need that second thing. You need elite scoring depth. That's what the Sharks used to have. Think about all the 2000s and the 2010s and making the playoffs year after year. Because if Patty didn't score, Pavelski did, or Ryan Claude did, or Setaguchi did, or Dan Boyle would jump in a play and score a goal. You know what I'm saying? It was obviously a different era of Sharks hockey, but they sometimes only had to worry about if their defense was good enough, if they could lock down opponents because they could score and stay right in games. Nowadays, it's almost the reverse problem. Sharks are pretty respectable defensively. If you actually look at it that way, and I know they gave up 6 and 7 spots last year. There were some times it fell apart, but right now they are holding the door open for themselves in a lot of games, but not able to get the result from it because they just don't score enough goals. So, all right, let's see where everybody is tuning in from. This is always an exciting part of the live stream. We've got Columbus, Ohio. Watching from work, Bradley is here in the Bay Area. Laura's from Los Angeles. Hello, Laura. Ames, Iowa. Oxidiz 3. David's in Santa Rosa. Oh, how about this? Scout Sergeant M. Cole. I'm saying that wrong. You're in Prague. That's awesome. You just got back to the hotel after the game. You know, if I was really fancy with this live stream, I would have had somebody check in via Zoom from Prague just to kind of set the scene. But how about this? We have Prague. We have Estonia. Rauno, if I'm saying your name right, I really appreciate you being here. Adolfo in Mexico. Buenos dias. Thank you for being here. Andrew Managuchi, watching from San Francisco. You and I are probably right around the corner, Andrew. I mean, no, we actually are. We're both in San Francisco right now. Fernando says, best defense is a good offense. Put in Bordalo and Eklund. And again, I just want to caution you, that will not fix the entire situation of where the Sharks are at scoring-wise. Night Shift, of course. Oh, you want the song Night Shift. I get you. Aaron says, to me, it's a win if we split this trip with Nashville. I would have to agree with you. I think looking at who the Sharks are playing, who the Sharks are, how much transition they're already in, new coach, new everything. I mean, even down to the jerseys are new. And Nashville, excuse me, falling apart here. Nashville was a playoff team last year. Would they have 97 points last year? Even with 97 points, they finished 5th in the Central. And they actually only lost in the first round of the playoffs to, guess who? The Stanley Cup winner, Colorado Avalanche. Dry throat. I should have hydrated a little bit more here. All right, let's see what else we got here. Excuse me. And I totally agree, though, that the idea of this trip, and even when I covered a trip like this to Stockholm back in 2010, Sharks and Blue Jackets, they did just exactly that. And the Sharks had huge ambitions back then, but the split was kind of looked at as a standard, as a baseline, as a good opportunity. You know what I'm going to do here that I normally don't do, but I absolutely should right now? Hang with me. I'm just going to take that off. I'm going to put this on. Yes, I'll be right back. I just need to lubricate the throat a little bit. So much better. Isn't that the beauty of, though, the live stream versus television? Because like on a TV show, I can't just say, oh, hold the phone. I got to go get a drink. if you have one of those like moments, yeah. And I was fine. I just needed to. There we go. Been doing a lot of talking in the last couple hours. Okay, you know what I should also do while we're here? Let me quickly check the voicemail line because I'll explain this once again. I did it off the top of the stream, but my goal this year in doing Night Shift is to take your voicemail calls. Oh, no, there's not a single voicemail. Okay, but everybody's getting new at this. This number here, there you go, right there, 510-343-3640. That number always exists. I mean, you can call it at any time, and I will not answer it. I really only answer them while I'm doing the live streams when I know people are calling in on purpose. I never answer, so don't worry about that. Call in, leave a message. You have a thought on the Sharks or anything else, I'll play them here during the live streams, and I'll just react and respond to them instantly. So just so you know, you can like bookmark that number. You can, put it in your phone. Honestly, just call it anytime. I won't even know that you called until I go and check the voicemails later. There are none right now, which is fine. This is brand new. But I've also come up with this right here, which is my start screen, kind of a countdown deal. I've just decided that I'm going to put the phone number up on that the entire time too, so that people can call in as I'm ramping up. Let's go back to the chat here briefly, and then eventually I'll start to close it down. Who are the top 3 players that will lead the team in goals this year? Go Sharks. Well, since you mentioned those 3, I'll tell you who, and this is weird to say, I hope they don't lead the team in goals. Logan, Tomas, and Timo. Now, wait a second. I love these guys, all personally and individually, and that's really rude and inaccurate of me to say, well, I hope they don't lead the team in goals. No, that's not it. I hope somebody challenges them for those top 3 spots, right? If you ask me who I think will do it, I think it's those 3. But I hope 4 other players make it really interesting. Cunning scored some goals. Maybe this is the year for Noah Gregor to bury some chances, and all of a sudden he's in the 25-goal conversation. Love to see Erik Karlsson get on a scoring touch. So, that's the reality of what I think, those 3. But the hope is that it gets a little bit more interesting. My answer wouldn't be so easy. That's really what I'm looking for, is so that it's not an easy thing for me to answer that question. I have no plans to change from Brody the Boy Wonder anytime soon. Oh, thanks, Tim. Consider that little avatar right there. Consider that my gift to you, that I did that on television and you captured it on a screenshot. Did anyone address the playing conditions? I think it was mentioned on the broadcast. I didn't hear anything from players afterwards, but I didn't hear everything. So possible that the ice surface wasn't even perfect, wasn't up to par. It's possible. Absolutely. I appreciate you for the comment earlier, Matt. Beautiful, sunny San Jose. Alden is in San Mateo. Andrew, you're inviting yourself over? What do you want to do over here? Problem is, if we let you in, we got to put you to work. And when you're thinking of the jobs you'd want to do, it may not be that. Just kidding. Curtis Brown needs his car detailed. No, just kidding. I don't even know that we're allowed to have people here, to be honest with you. The rules and the dynamics have greatly changed in the last couple of years. You didn't leave right after the game. Oh, skipping the Blue Angels. That's right. As I drive home across the bridge here, I might have to peek in the rear view and see the Blue Angels. It's Fleet Week, right? Probably practicing today and then maybe performing tomorrow and Sunday. I think that's usually how it works. By the way, side note, I watched Top Gun last night. Top Gun Maverick, right? That's what the new movie's called. Missed it when it came out originally, but sat down and enjoyed it last night. I should do, you know what? I'll do a whole separate video on this at some other time. But here's my Top Gun hot takes, and don't worry, no spoiler alerts here. The first half of Top Gun, not great. Cheesy. Bad writing. Dumb stuff I didn't need to see. The second half of Top Gun, moving, well written, well produced. Just a really, I really enjoyed the second half of the movie. Okay, anyway, I digress. Let's go back to here. A couple pundits who say that Nashville could be the Western Conference representatives in the finals. They have a very good team. No, and they've got goaltending, right? I think you look at some of their additions, and over the years, adding a Duchesne, adding a Nito Niederreiter, they're going to be a difficult team to play against. Them finishing, what did I say, 5th in the Central last year? I don't know how that even happened at 97 points. But I think they will contend and compete this year, no doubt. Yeah, you saw my timeout for refreshments and the elevator music, too, to go with it. Which Sharks prospect am I most looking forward to? It's a good list of names right there. I don't even want to give you one right now. Although I do think I'm interested to get to know Ozzy Weisblatt. I think there's a good story there. But I know that's not what you were asking. You're just saying who's going to probably perform the best. Aaron's in Montana, but from Hayward. Oh, from the stack, huh? From the haystack? Wonder what you're doing in Montana. Vacationing, relaxing, family, maybe you're working. I don't know. Never been to Montana. Wait, have I? No, never been to Montana. Looks beautiful, though. Do I think Timo Meier will have a career-high season this season? Well, he had a career-high in goals last year, and this year he's on a contract season, meaning that he's done after this year as of right now. Will the Sharks re-sign him at some point? Will they agree to something? Will they wait till the next offseason? Are they evaluating their situation? I don't know. But I do know that, look, he's always motivated to have a great season. Always. But there's just something different about, human nature when you know that you're performing for everything for the next 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 years, right? Again, would never pencil somebody in as only playing hard in contract years. That's a ridiculous thought. But I'm just saying sometimes the way it works out in human nature, you find new levels when you need it most. How about this? Moonglow is on a cruise ship somewhere in the Pacific, and you're watching this? See, now we're reaching new levels. It's one thing to hit all the continents, Europe, Australia, Asia. We've done a lot of that before. But to have you, Moonglow, in international waters watching is pretty awesome. And yeah, where is Caker Girl? Caker Girl might be on the job or doing, it's daytime, right? Caker Girl is night shifting usually, but we're not at night. So, Andy says, go Preds. What are you doing here? You knew this wouldn't be a Preds-centric conversation. You know what? You're a hockey fan. That's all that matters. You saw Top Gun at the Metreon IMAX. I bet that on the big screen would have been awesome. Oh, Friday practice for the old Blue Angels. Patrick says, Edgewood, Washington. Hey-oh! Enjoy the Blue Angels, Brody. You need to fly GA. You, my friend, are rusty. How do you know that? You don't know that. On Flight Sim, I'm greasing in the landings every single time. Every single time. But that's Flight Sim. When you take a refreshment break, you need to play the Desert Dogs soundbite. Do I still have that in here? I changed a lot of my sound effects. Yeah, that one might have been taken out, but I do have all the organ music. And you know what that other one meant? It's the end of a period. Or in my case, it might be the end of the live stream. Go, Brody, go. Go, Brody, go. It's not really how it goes. All right. In all reality, I do think I'm done. I'm done streaming. So there you go. Thanks for being here for this first episode of the season, Sharks Night Shift. I plan on doing this most games, most nights, as I did last year. Kind of got to be a good rhythm and routine, and it's good for the channel. It's good for everybody in community, and nobody else is really doing it like this. Well, and I take it back. Others are. I see you, Teal Town, USA. I see you out there. But it was a good experience for me to jump into as well. So with that said, I'll be signing off, and I can already tell you I'll be seeing you tomorrow. for Game 2 of the season. Sorry, I was looking for buttons there. Game 2, we'll do it at the same time, 10:30 in the morning, pregame live. It's the Sharks and Preds from Prague. Team Teal gets to be the home club at O2 Arena. All right, thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow.